Hey guys, it's Bellamy and welcome to one of our game reviews here on Midnight Suns. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest Disney visual novel game to release on the Nintendo Switch, Tron Identity. Alright, first up, let's talk about the gameplay. Unlike every other Tron game to come before this is not an action game, not in the slightest. It is a visual novel game, which means you are going to be spending pretty much the entire game reading text. There are some puzzle mini-game sections, but those are few and far between. If you don't like reading, then maybe don't get this game, because it is really a full-fledged visual novel. There are no voiceovers as well, so you are really just going to be reading text the entire game. But that being said, as somebody who enjoys visual novels myself, I think that Tron Identity is a great addition to the genre, and it is probably the best visual novel I've played in years. As for the puzzle minigame sections, you play an identity disk defragmentation game that offers some pretty engaging number matching puzzles, and it took me a few rounds to fully grasp the rules, but once I did, I had a ton of fun with it. If you only want to play the puzzles, there is also an endless mode that you can select from the home screen, which will allow you to just play the puzzles without having to go through the main story sections. As for the main story, during the course of the game, you get to make important story decisions that will alter the direction of the story and the ending you get, and that is where most of the player interactivity in this game comes from. It is basically a choose-your-own-adventure narrative-focused branching path story game. And now let's delve into the story. Being a visual novel game, nothing is more important than having a great story. And let me tell you, this game has a great story. So here's a brief synopsis of what the plot is about. After an unexplained explosion occurs at what is essentially a government building, you play as Query, a detective who has been tasked with solving the mystery behind the crime and finding out what has been stolen from the building. This story fits so perfectly within the Tron universe that we have been previously introduced to in the Tron franchise through the movies and video games and cartoon. And fans of the Tron universe will be pleasantly surprised with all the Easter egg references to the rest of the franchise that are found in this game. But that is not to say that you can't enjoy this game if you aren't familiar with the world of Tron. The story in this game pretty much plays out as a 2-hour-long, self-contained detective noir thriller, and it serves as a great gateway game to the rest of the Tron universe for new fans of the franchise. Without spoiling anything, the repercussions of the story in this game also changes the world of Tron as we know it, and fans of the franchise should definitely play this game to find out where the direction of the Tron universe might be headed in the near future. So, visually speaking, the art style in this game is gorgeous. It really captures that sleek Tron Legacy visual style with all the glowing lines and all that beautiful futuristic digital aesthetic. The character designs are also distinct and memorable, and even though this was a relatively short game at 2 hours long, I think I'll still be able to remember all the characters for years to come. The graphics aren't exactly groundbreaking, but in this case I think it's completely fine and it totally fits in the universe of the game anyway. Since the whole game itself takes place inside what is essentially a video game in a computer, I think it's alright that not everything looks photorealistic, because this is, after all, a video game about a video game when you think about it. So if things and characters look like they are from a video game and not from real life, that's completely fine by me. That being said, it would still be super cool though if we one day got a Tron video game that had photorealistic graphics like the Tron Legacy movie. That would be a dream come true. Alright, now let's talk about the audio. Tron Identity has a fantastic music score and soundtrack that is absolutely fantastic and worthy of being in the Tron franchise. Now, if you might remember, the 2010 movie Tron Legacy had one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time, and the music in that film was so good that Daft Punk absolutely should have won the Oscar for Best Movie Soundtrack for the work they did on that film. The fact that they weren't even nominated for an Oscar is an absolute tragedy. But putting all that aside, this game does its best to capture the electronic techno vibe of the Tron Legacy soundtrack. And I think it does an excellent job at that. Bear in mind that you are going to be spending 2 hours reading text in this game, and there aren't any voiceovers at all as previously mentioned. So the music soundtrack is extremely important in helping set the tone and vibe of the story, since it is pretty much the only thing you'll be hearing for 2 hours. Along with the occasional sound effects, of course. And yes, the soundtrack is so beautifully dark and haunting while still being energetic, and I love it so much that I've even been listening to it on Spotify on repeat for the past few days. Definitely give it a listen if you are curious at all about the tone of this game, because the soundtrack really captures the vibe of the game so well, and just listening to it will set you up for what you can expect from this fantastic visual novel. But alright, it is now time for the final verdict. I am giving Tron Identity an excellent 8.5 out of 10. It is easily the best visual novel I've played in years, and its short length means that it is a game that doesn't require much commitment. You can treat it like you are just reading a short story or watching a feature-length film over one afternoon. And if you end up really enjoying it, you can also replay the game and make different key decisions during the course of the story and really delve into the branching storylines. The game being only 2 hours long also makes the whole branching path storyline mechanic a lot less daunting, since you won't have to play through an entire 15-hour visual novel like many of the other visual novels currently on the market. I highly recommend this game for fans of the Tron franchise or anybody just looking to pick up a great visual novel for the Nintendo Switch. I will say though, this is probably the kind of game that you want to enjoy on a large screen with a great sound system and without any distractions. So if you're playing this on your Nintendo Switch, you might not want to play it handheld while you're out and about. But apart from that, I don't see any downsides to picking this up on the Nintendo Switch. And I really look forward to seeing what the future of the Tron franchise brings us after experiencing this wonderful game. Anyway, that's all for this review guys. Do consider subscribing if you haven't already. We are really trying to reach 1000 subs by the end of the year. So if you could help us out, that would be great. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay gold everybody. I will see you all on the grid. Bye guys.